Welcome everybody to the 2022 Country Conference, and I'd like to declare the conference open.
You can't start a speech without acknowledging this federal election win over the weekend. And some of the notable things, particularly for public sector workers, is that the need for security and wage increases at a federal level. And I think the election demonstrates that there's recognition from the broader public of the importance and the essential work that our public sector workers perform every day.
We've got now the evidence that the businesses in these regional communities are the ones that cannot afford you to get a real wage cut. 80 cents out of every dollar gets spent locally. You're saying to the government you can shove the 2.5% up your ass. Forget the wage cap. It's a question of whether we should have a ceiling at all, frankly.
It is so important that our wages keep pace with inflation, because we expect our workers, those people that responded to the bushfires, the floods, the pandemic, they expect to have their wages keep pace.
Some of our regional areas are electing people that are doing the exact opposite of what they say they do, whether it be providing decent quality jobs in the bush. The Nats are doing a disservice to every community represented in this room. We need to push back on them, and we need them to change or get out of the way.
The past 12 months, really the past 2.5 years, have been filled with fires, floods and COVID. There is a collective trauma throughout the community, and most of us still shudder at the news of heavy rains. There were many heroes, but the real heroes are the wider community as a whole, who all banded together to support those that were impacted.
I'd like to declare the conference open, and I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land that we meet on today.
On behalf of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, I welcome everyone to the land of the Gadigal. This always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Delegates, as we've seen over the past 3 years, during times of great challenge and crisis, it is the public sector that the community turns to. It was our members who responded to the wildfires. It was our members at the Ministry of Health that first responded to the pandemic. And again, it was our members that responded to the floods. Our members deserve a pay rise. The public sector needs a pay rise.
Now, the New South Wales government would have you believe there's nothing that can be done about the rising cost of living. That's not true. Mr Perrottet needs to understand he can't have it both ways. He can't be deliberately holding down wages as he's done for the last decade, while at the same time jacking up taxes, fees, charges, tolls, which are blowing a hole in the family budget. Any government I lead will support a fair pay rise, which of course reflects the value of the work that you do and the economic conditions in which you're raising your families.
I always like to think of it like being like a household. Oh, it's good for us not to spend as much as we got, but the government has a few more things to do than just sort of put food on the table. They got to take care of people who don't have money, and I think I bang on about it, but trying to get out of that mindset of deficit bad, surplus good is one of the best things we can do.
What I'd like to see is rebuilding of the Industrial Relations Commission. Not appointing some lobbyists, wives, mates, cousins, friend, lobbyists. That will stop under a Labor government. Under a Minns Labor government, you have real experts and professionals and people that you trust that will do the right thing for working people and for the people of New South Wales.
People were woken by the sound of water rushing up under their beds.
What got swamped? How much of the town got swamped?
Everything. Everything. There was nothing. There was nothing left. So the CBD, you've got, your general kind of small business retail precinct. There was no GP's offices. There was no preschools left. There was, only 1 or 2 schools that weren't flooded in Lismore.
We had a team of 7 people working, and it wasn't enough. We had tried to get more people in, but we didn't have the staff. And look, we had an idea of what we were going to be in for, but we didn't realise how bad it was going to be.
We bought out every single bottle of water on the Gold Coast. Okay, we went to every single Woolworths and then jumped straight in the car, drove straight to Ballina. Our staff, our DCJ staff, they had basically not knocked off shift for the 3 days it took for us to get them.
It's absolutely shocking, the conditions that people are living in. There's been a huge impact on people's health. Now I'm talking mental health, emotional well-being, as well as physical health.
But I don't know that any organisation, joint organisation, could have responded to the number of calls for assistance. You know, all I can say is I thank your operators.
I don't think any one of your members got up of a morning and said, I don't know if I should go into work today, I might get COVID. But what you did do is get up every day and go into work and make sure this state kept functioning.
The fact is that when we give our values and our commitment and our solidarity to one another, we become part of something that is not only bigger than us, but which is lifelong and meaningful and important.